What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and I am so pumped about this deal because I think this is the most creative play that I have ever had in all of my investments. So I'm gonna show you how I did the BRRRR strategy, but even better, how I was able to pull money out of this deal and do it in under 6 months from when I purchased it. So I'm gonna go through the renovation, how I worked with the bank, and all of the tips and tricks I used to finagle our way into a killer deal and do it in a very short period of time. So with all of that being said, let's jump into it. All right, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Chandler Smith, and I've been investing in real estate for the last 6+ years, and I absolutely love everything real estate investing. However, I have never put together a deal as creative as this one. And the reason this one is so crazy is I followed the BRRRR strategy. Now with the BRRRR strategy, usually you buy, you renovate, you rent, you refinance, and then you repeat. Now here are a couple catches with the BRRRR strategy. The first catch is from when you buy it, you have to wait 6 months to be able to refinance it. So that's a pretty long period of time if you're purchasing a property in cash to wait before you're able to refinance. On top of that, a lot of times you have a hard time refinancing for more than what you purchased the property for. What this means is if you bought a property for $140,000 in cash, you could refinance, but you could only refinance at the purchase price of $140,000. Now, if you wait a year, I think that is then loosened, and so you can pull more money out. So for instance, if you bought it for $140,000, you put in $10,000 in renovations, then you could get a loan for like $200,000 once you've waited that time period. Now with this, you've got to work with your bank, figure out what those restrictions are and kind of work through them. But I didn't want to wait a year to be able to get all my money out and keep as little down as possible in this deal because of how strong it was cash flowing. So here is how we structured the deal on this property to not only be able to pull it off in under 6 months, as a matter of fact, it was like 2 or 3 months, but also pull cash out of the deal above and beyond what we purchased it for. Now, when I talk about this, a lot of red flags should be going up because if you don't do this properly, you can get in trouble, whether it's with the bank or whatever. There are lots of issues you could potentially run into. So the way I structured this, I made sure that I spoke with my accountant, my lawyer, and my loan officer before doing it. And don't read into it the wrong way. You've got to listen to all of the details because if you don't get the details right, then it won't make sense. So here is how we did it. I found this property and I was able to purchase this property for $140,000. Now, when I purchased this property, my wife was not impressed because it was a dump.
Seen it, so we're gonna let her take the first peek here.
Oh. It stinks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We got a steal of a deal. The kitchen's in pretty good shape. What do you think, Mads?
I wouldn't live in this. But we'll see.
So after I purchased it for $140,000 cash, and keep in mind, when I say I purchased it, I didn't actually purchase it. I have an LLC that went and purchased this property in cash. So my LLC as a separate entity went and purchased the property. It was purchased in cash for $140,000. We then went into the property that my wife was not a fan of and we fixed it up. We ripped out the flooring, we painted the walls, we changed a couple of the fixtures, and you can see in this video, we made it look awesome. And so we got it all finished up and we ended up putting about $15,000 into the renovation. So we went from having $140,000 cash to going up to having $155,000 cash. Now I say we, but again, for me to make sure I don't get in trouble and you don't get in trouble, I'm going to clarify the LLC spent this money. So after spending $155,000, the LLC now rented this property to a tenant for $2,000, okay? Now, I know a lot of you are saying, holy cow, Chandler, well done, that's an awesome renovation. Yes, and here's the deal. I could have filled it for even more. However, I wanted one tenant in there and I just wanted to get it done so I could move on with this process. Now, if I was going to go in and try and get a personal loan to pull it out of the LLC and get a loan in my name, I wouldn't be able to do it because I own the LLC. All right, so that was off the table, not something that could work. However, what I could do is sell this property for more to be able to get the cash out, but I couldn't sell it to myself. Now I'm serious, this is how the rule works. And what you've got to remember is government rules are different than bank rules. We're focusing on the bank rules right now, but with the tax situation, we're gonna talk about the government rules. So as of right now, with the bank rules, I am able to sell it from my LLC, but I can't sell it to myself and do what I wanted to do. However, my wife wanted to buy a duplex. She was ready to roll to purchase a property. And my LLC is allowed to sell a property to my wife. So what happened is my LLC sold this property to my wife. Now, because of where the rents were at with our tenant, the price that made sense to where my wife was still cash flowing and more than happy with purchasing the property was at $250,000. So my LLC sold the property to my wife for $250,000. Now, I know a lot of you are having red flags go up, but I'm telling you right now, talk to your loan officer, talk to your lawyer. This is legal. It's something that I can do perfectly fine, and I double, triple, quadruple checked. However, I have to make sure that I'm clear in this video that it was my LLC that sold it to my wife. Now, my wife purchased this property for $250,000 and the LLC ended up covering the closing costs. What happened here is with the LLC covering the closing costs, the LLC's take home was $241,000. But remember, they had $155,000 into the deal in cash. Then you're gonna take the $155,000 and subtract it, which leaves you with this $86,000 somewhere around right here. What that means is the real profit of the LLC was $86,000. Now, I know a lot of red flags are going up because your mind is going over to the government side of things, which is, well, Chandler, you didn't live in the property, and because of that, that would be a profit which you'd have to pay taxes on. You are right, okay, to a point. And let me explain this. The LLC made $86,000 on this deal. However, now we're gonna talk about my wife's situation. My wife purchased a property for $250,000. Now, to purchase a property for $250,000, she needed 25% down. 25% down ends up being $62,500. So my LLC made $86,000, which we're gonna leave right over here. My wife had to spend $62,500 over here for the down payment to be able to purchase this property that was $250,000. So you're gonna think this is crazy, but even though my LLC made $86,000 and my wife spent $62,500, the government views us as a joint unit because we are married, filing jointly on our taxes. So I swear, and you're gonna think this is crazy, but I double checked with my accountant, I did my research on this. What happened is the government views us as one entity. And because of that, this transaction is actually viewed as a refinance, which means there's no real profit. So we now have a property that we have none of our money in, and it is cash flowing every single month. And on top of that, we are positive $23,500 that we were able to take out of this property. So after doing this whole transaction, and again, viewing it the way the government does, we're in a scenario where we have a new duplex that none of our money is locked up in. We have an additional $23,500, and we did not have to pay tax on the $23,500, on the $86,000, on none of that, all right? We don't have to pay tax on those things because they're not viewed as a profit. We will just have to pay tax on the profit that comes from the rents, which we won't have to pay tax on because we have depreciation that we can use from the property. So the way the government views it, we just got a freaking steal because we have the property, we have the cash flow, we have $23,500 out, and all the cash we put into it is back, and it is just a screaming deal. Now, where you got to be careful is from the bank side of things, because if the bank looks at this scenario and you say, hey, We just pulled off a deal in 2 months where we got $23,500. We still have the property that we bought only 2 months ago. A lot of red flags are going to go up. And just like for you, a lot of red flags are going to go up. However, if you really look at it properly from the bank's perspective, we did everything correctly. We did everything right. My wife now owns a property that she did perfectly fine. She bought at a great price for where the rents were at. She's cash flowing. She had to spend money to be able to purchase that property. When you look at it from my LLC's perspective, the LLC did awesome. It was essentially a flip that you could have said, hey, they probably would have to pay tax on that flip, but they bought a property, they renovated it, they sold it for fair market value according to what they were able to raise the rents to, and everything is hunky-dory. And this is what's so unique about how the two things function differently, whether you're dealing with the bank or with the government. Now, again, I know a lot of red flags are going to go up, but I want you to know none of this was hidden. When it came to the bank, I was completely forward about exactly what we were going to do. I made sure that it was all done legally. I talked to my accountant to make sure we weren't going to get burned on any gains tax on the LLC. And so I have done a ton of research on this. And the reason this deal is incredible is we were able to essentially do the BRRRR strategy, but instead of waiting 6 months or a year to be able to pull money out of the deal, we were able to pull off this deal in about 2.5 months. So literally start to finish, from when we purchased the property, we were able to renovate it, get it rented, get it sold to my wife. A 2.5 month period had passed, and we were able to put ourselves in this situation. More than anything else, I'm hoping this video helps you to be more creative in the way that you structure your deals. And what's so important about being creative and structuring your deals is having the proper team in place where you know you've got an accountant, a loan officer, and a lawyer that can protect you and make sure that you're doing everything properly. You do not want to step into risky territory and try and do things secretly. You don't want to keep things from your bank. You don't want to keep things from your accountant. You want to be 100% upfront and forward and bring these things to them and say, hey, what's the best possible way for us to structure this that is legal? And when they come to you and say, this is the way to do it, and it's legal and you're good to go, then you are set to pull off some extraordinary deals in a very creative way. So if you enjoyed the video, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the other videos. This is a series of all of the deals that I have done. And so you can find all the deals I did before this deal. You can also wait and watch as I release more of the deals that I have done in the future, because I'll continue to put these videos out to relive all of these different deals that I've done over the last couple of years. So again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the little bell so you know when the other videos come out. And if you want to know more about real estate investing, you can check out my channel. But if you want some one-on-one time with me to help you structure deals or learn more about investing in real estate, hop onto my website at chandlerdavidsmith.com, and I would love nothing more than to walk you through deals or help you in any way that I can in a one-on-one setting. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.